for joining us at the Retirement Blueprint Show with the founder of the Retirement Blueprint, Tim Lofton. I am your host, Spike Spengel. Tim, how are you doing this week?
Doing well.
Fantastic. Loving the sharp sport coat. We're pulling out the summer colors because we are in the midst of the season. Looks great on you. There's a lot that on my mind today that I am worried about, and I've got to ask you, why are we hearing so much about taxes today?
Well, like with everything else, they're going up. That's just kind of the environment we're in, and we understand why. The country has charged $3 trillion on a credit card. And I mean, the Amex is getting close to its limit, and they keep raising the limit. They have special legislative sessions to increase our spending limit. And at some point, that's going to have to be paid. And so there's only one way that, there's two ways technically with fiscal policy. You can not spend as much. That would be, a pleasant change. But realistically, is that going to happen? Probably not. So the only way to really fix it is to pay more in taxes. We're in the lowest tax environment we've been in for decades. And so, we've enjoyed it. People still complain about it. I always am interested. We have that little questionnaire people fill out before they come in the office, and they're all the number one thing. How do I reduce my taxes? It's like, well, you can make less income, but we're in a pretty competitive tax environment relative to history, right? Mm-hmm. So the question is, when taxes increase, what's your plan, right?
And doing nothing, not much of a plan right now. Mm-hmm. And these small percentages, 2%, 3%, 5%, can make a huge impact on somebody's retirement savings and how long it will last. Let's talk specific about some of these accounts specifically. It's like your 401ks, your 403bs, what is often known as deferred compensation plans. These are some of the largest tax burdens that most Americans owe out there. I don't think they realize it.
Well, they are, and not only is it their largest tax burden, it's their largest holding. Most people's nest egg is wrapped up in tax-deferred investment. IRAs, 401ks, 403bs. If you work out at the base, it's the thrift savings plan. If you work for the state, it's deferred comp. There's all these amazing plans, and we were told, hey, put as much money in this thing as you can to defer the taxes. Mm-hmm. You get a deduction today in your income, and you get an opportunity for that to grow tax deferred, and that's the plan. The problem is when you get to retirement, you get lulled into a fake sense of security, because you look at your statement and you're like, hey, I've done a good job of saving. I've got $1 million in my 401k, but it's not $1 million, Spike. It's $700,000.
Yeah.
And so
because of what you owe in the taxes.
Because of the taxes. And so if that's a 30% decrease in what the statement says. When I look at my statement and it says, hey, I've got $1 million, but I don't really have $1 million, most folks don't understand that. I want you to think about it from a more important perspective, though. What is the goal of that money? It's to produce income.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, it's not just to save it and hold on to it.
No, it's to produce income. That's what it was saved for. Save for a rainy day. When I retire, that's the rainy day, although I think that's a horrible analogy. But that's kind of the idea of it. And so most people subscribe to that 4% rule where, if I have $1 million, I can take out 4% for the rest of my life and not run out of money. In theory, and that works in most cases, but that's for another show. The idea here is the dollars and cents. I've got $1 million. I can take my 4% out, which is $40,000, but then what do I have to do with that money? I got to pay taxes on it.
Yeah, you got to pay taxes on that as well.
And so $40,000 now is $28,000 because $1 million is $700,000. Right. 4% of $700,000 is $28,000. Well, there is a big difference when I set my initial plan up and thinking, all right, I'm going to have $40,000 of income, and now I have $28,000 of income.
Right.
And then you expand on that with rising prices at the gas pump, rising electric bills, rising cost of goods and services, assuming you can get goods and services right now, because that seems to be a whole
harder to get things. You go in stores, half the shelves are empty right now.
And so, taxes are a huge impact and probably one of the biggest things missed in retirement planning. Because it is your largest expense as a retiree, is understanding that the money out is going to cut into the money that you can spend.
Right. Well, speaking of that money out, we don't want to go without a strategy. You actually put together a written plan. One of your suggestions on that is because we stick to it even better. So please tell me a little bit more about the retirement blueprint. I know we have talked about it in other programs, but if folks actually call you to come in and meet in the offices, you can actually start this process for them complimentary. What exactly does that entail?
Sure. And so when people come into the office, we obviously have a questionnaire and a process that we've been using for the last 30 years to take people through the questions that we need to understand the answers to. And I think, a lot of times what keeps people from coming and seeing us, the person that's sitting there maybe right now thinking, I don't know if I should call, it's the fear that they don't know something. Like that they have to have a certain amount of knowledge to come in and talk to us, and that's not the case. That's why we're here. I mean, that's like not going to the doctor because you haven't been to medical school. You're not expected to be able to diagnose the problem. You only have to describe what the problem is. And you tell them, hey, doc, when I get up in the morning, my shoulder's sore. It's not your job to figure out why your shoulder's sore. It's just to tell the doctor that that's your problem. His job is to diagnose it and come up with a solution. And that's what we do. That's what the retirement blueprint is all about. It's about understanding where people's pain points are, what they need to do in retirement, what they're trying to accomplish, looking at their family structure and what they want to have to happen after they're gone with their estate plan. All of that comes into play. We've got the process for asking the right questions. There is no wrong answer. So people don't have to be worried about, I don't know what I don't know,
Right.
or I don't have the right answers. Bring in the stuff that they'll receive when they set up an appointment. They get an email. It says, here's the things to bring. We ask questions. They already know the answers. Dayton, you know the answers to our questions. When do you want to retire? You know the answer to that. How much income are you going to need? You know the answer to that. We can help craft the plan based on their answers.
Right. But the only way that you can craft that is if folks reach out to you here. Folks, please get your own retirement blueprint started. It is complimentary. There are no obligations to it, but you need to reach out to Tim and the group right here, 855-684-3485. More of the retirement blueprint with the founder of the retirement blueprint, Tim Lofton. When we get back right after this, what is the difference between tax and legislative risk after this break?
Hi, I'm Tim Lofton, and for 27 years, we've been helping people just like you navigate to and through retirement with our trademark process, the Retirement Blueprint. Many of our clients are extremely concerned today with the increasing federal debt and a potential for a significant increase in taxes. If you share these or other retirement concerns, give us a call today for a no-obligation complimentary consultation. Let us plan your tomorrow today.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to the Retirement Blueprint Show with Tim Lofton. He is the founder of the Retirement Blueprint, and we are talking about how taxes can affect you in retirement. Don't change that channel. I know taxes might not sound exciting to everybody, but they're important, and it could be getting worse over the next few years, and so I know that we really need to pay attention to it. But there's something that I was reading about, and I wanted to ask you if you didn't mind. What exactly is the difference between tax risk and legislative risk? Because I think it's kind of both about the laws and how they change, but to me they're quite similar. Are they different?
Oh, they're very different. I'll give you a story, okay? Did you just watch the Kentucky Derby?
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
Very exciting, right? This is legislative risk. You're a jockey or a horse owner, and you know exactly what's going to happen. The field has been set. You're marching your horse up to the gate, and you know everybody that you're racing against. You know all the rules. Everything is already decided. And then what happened? They changed who you're racing against.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
Because the horse that scratched now is gone. Now there is a new horse and a new jockey that is entering the gate, and off they go. And, you know, it was amazing. And then that horse won.
Yeah.
That horse wasn't even supposed to be there. That's legislative risk. The government changes the rules. This has happened time and time again. We can go back to it was in 1986. We had limited partnerships, and limited partnerships were this great investment, not so much because of the growth, but because of all the amazing tax deductions you got for owning a limited partnership. And then the government woke up one day and said, you know what? We're going to close those tax loopholes, which they gave us, by the way, and all of a sudden, now your limited partnership's not worth anything. And I was still in high school when that happened, but I remember talking to advisors that lived through that time period, and they're like, it was unbelievable. You know, I mean, these were like great investments, and all of a sudden $100,000 is now worth 10.
Yeah.
Overnight, because of literally the stroke of a pen. We see that time and time again. It most recently happened in 2019. So we have, for 30 years of my career, we had this really cool strategy called the Stretch IRA. And,
right.
And you know, for all those pros out there in Dayton that have made the seminar circuits for your free meal, you probably have been to a bunch of those where they said, come learn about the Stretch IRA, like it's a certain investment. It wasn't an investment. It wasn't anything special. It was simply a tax loophole that basically said, you know what, I have an IRA. If I die, I can pass it on to my daughter. She can continue to let that money grow for the rest of her life. If I was taking income, if I'd already reached 70 and a half at the time and started my RMD, my required minimum distribution that the government makes us take out of our IRAs, I could continue that income for the rest of my life, and we got a reset to her life expectancy. So it basically took $1 million IRA, and the Stretch IRA could turn it into $20 million. I mean, that's kind of the story, right?
But the legislative is that can go away. And look, your show is about retirement planning, the Retirement Blueprint, helping people get through. Just one more example of it that I just thought of as that younger generation is cryptos. And they are one legislative decision away from this going from, you know, being huge growth to being absolutely zero. As we know already, that those crypto markets have been cut in half, at least as of this airing of the broadcast. But anything like that can change so quickly. So how do you help people avoid legislative risk when it comes to their investments?
Well, here's the thing. You can't. You can't avoid it. What you have to be able to do is react to it. And that's really where, you know, when we make a plan, so many times people get a plan mixed up as an event. Like once they get this done, it's like they've checkmarked the box and now it's all done. Like I'm taken care of and retirement's set and I don't have any worries. But that's not reality. legislative risk is a constant change to here's the set of rules today, and now we have a new set of rules. And so we talk about, with our clients, we're here to do life with you. We're here to get you to a starting point, but then to move forward through that lifetime of retirement to make sure that when those changes happen, we can react to those changes.
Right, right. Now, if you don't mind, because we are talking about taxes, and it's really important for this show to be letting folks know that you're not just a financial planner talking about the kinds of things that you invest in, but you help people put these plans together. Yours is called the Retirement Blueprint, and you're happy to do that complimentary for folks. With a couple of minutes, if you don't mind, what is really the difference between tax planning and tax preparation?
Well, that's not semantics. There's a huge difference. So tax preparation is what we all do in January, February, March every year. We get all of our stuff together, all of our expenses and our W-2s and 1099s and all those different forms, and we typically either give them to a CPA, or if we're a do-it-yourselfer, you've got the tax planning software, but that's tax preparation. Tax planning is a completely different thing. Tax preparation is about you paying the least amount of taxes today. And that's what every CPA is going to do for you, because that's their job. How do I pay the least amount of taxes today? So that's choice number one. Or choice number two is, how do I pay the least amount of taxes for the rest of my life?
Okay.
Right?
They're big difference.
Big difference. So do I want to save a few $1,000s today, or do I want to save tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands over the next 30 years?
Right, right. Well, we're going to have to take a very quick break, so I'll do this for you real quick. Folks, we're going to continue talking about tax solutions in your retirement, how it fits into an overall strategy. But for you out there, you don't have to go it alone. Please call the phone number you see here so you can get your own complimentary retirement blueprint. 855-684-3485. Call and ask for your own retirement blueprint from Tim Lofton. He is the founder of it. He is right here in Dayton, and this is the kind of retirement planning they do every single day in their offices. More retirement tax solutions when we get back, right after this brief break.
Unexpected events, like a global pandemic, can turn our world upside down overnight. They can cause volatile shifts that may cause you to question the confidence in your current retirement plan. As a retiree or a pre-retiree, knowing you have a plan that can withstand the worst economic conditions is vital. Contact us today for a complimentary review. Get a second opinion and learn more about our trademark process, the Retirement Blueprint. Let us plan your tomorrow today.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Hello once again, Dayton. Thank you for coming back to the Retirement Blueprint Show with the founder of the Retirement Blueprint, Tim Lofton. I'm your host, Spike Spengel. We're talking about tax strategies in retirement. So I've got to ask you about this, the Roth conversion. Are you getting calls on this all of the time, or does this seem to be still a little silent for people as a good strategy moving into retirement?
Well, interestingly, the last 3 or 4 years, we've seen a lot of people coming into the office that are actually have already done Roth conversions or have a strategy for doing it. So all I can figure out is either they're watching the show or they're doing research. And I just think for the most part, people are becoming more educated on tax strategy, at least from a big picture standpoint. The problem is that it's not a one size fits all. And so we also have people come into the office that have been doing conversions that shouldn't have, because it doesn't really make sense for their plan. And then the flip side is true as well, where you have people that haven't done conversions where it's kind of a no-brainer. And so that's where it gets a little confusing, because there is a process to figure out if it makes sense. It's not a matter of is it good or is it bad to do a Roth conversion. It's a matter of is it right for you.
Right. And is it the right time?
Right.
If you don't mind me asking, because I know that you are a financial planner and you help people put together the retirement blueprint, what are the kinds of typical clients that you have, or who are the kinds of folks that you're able to help out the best if they were to call into the phone number? What does a typical person look like who's within your firm?
Well, 55 or older, either approaching or in retirement, and looking for the actual, maybe it's just a second opinion. A lot of times people are coming to the office and they think that they already have a plan, or they've been told that they have a plan, and they just want us to evaluate it. And no harm, no foul, right? I mean, we tell people all the time. I mean, I've gone through appointment after appointment with people where I'm like, you know what, you're good. You're good just the way you are. We're extremely busy. So we're not here to try and convince everybody to work with us. We're here to help people. And so there's really no downside to getting that second opinion. And I think it kind of starts there.
So if you're serious about retirement, or maybe you've had a plan, or you're not sure if you have a written strategy at all, that's probably somebody who say, hey, pick up that phone, because I want to make sure you've got a strategy in place and you've got the different kinds of tools. Speaking to all of this tax information we've talked about today, are you specifically a CPA?
No, but I've played one on TV. No, no, I am. So I am literally the opposite of a CPA. I hated accounting classes so much that I took Accounting 101 like 3 times. I dropped it like twice because I'm like, this doesn't even make sense to me. So no, I am definitely not a CPA. I love planning, but that is not the area of my expertise.
Right.
But we have that guy.
But you have that guy. You have that person, that arm of your firm.
We have Matt. Matt is our CPA, and he has done everything from large corporate accounting practices all the way down to the individual mom and pop.
So the firm kind of sounds like it is one-stop, I don't want to say shopping, one-stop advice, right? Because you have a wealth management arm, you have other solutions that would maybe include annuities or insurance if they're appropriate for folks. You've got the CPA arm, but you also have a law arm as well, because estate planning is all part of retirement strategies, right?
It is, and I mean, when most firms don't specialize in retirement planning. In fact, 95% of advisors are what are called accumulation advisors. They're there to help grow money, and most firms are out there to grow money. We are the firm that you come to after you've grown your money. When you're looking at retirement and figuring out how am I going to produce the income that I need, what are my estate planning needs, all those types of things require a team. It's not about just how do we invest your dollars, but it's a matter of how we protect those dollars from taxes, from the nursing home. How do we make sure that your nest egg passes on to the kids the way that you want it to? How do we make sure that we claim Social Security at the right time? How do we know what we're going to do if we have a loss of spouse? Those are the types of things that are a problem for every retiree and need to be addressed.
Right, right. And that's exactly what you do in the offices. You know, the difference between tax planning, tax preparation, maybe you could also explain a little bit of the difference between that accumulation and how you help people switch gears and go to decumulation, because I think that's got to be quite difficult for somebody who's been working for 30 or 40 years.
Without a doubt. I mean, the psychology behind it alone, if you think about it, you know, for 30 plus years you have saved and not taken money out. And now we're going to no longer get a paycheck. We're not going to be saving anymore, which already feels horrible. And then we're going to take money out of our savings. It is a very difficult thing for retirees to wrap their head around. It's very uncomfortable, and understandably so.
Right. So we're going to have to wrap up today's show. I know that taxes are a big worry out there for folks. Please don't go it alone. Make sure that you talk with a tax professional, whether it's Tim and his team or someone. You've got to make sure you get the right advice. But before we leave here today, can you please explain exactly what the retirement blueprint is and how you want to help the folks here in Dayton?
Retirement blueprint is simply this. It is a solution to your retirement needs, but it's all-encompassing. We're going to look at your taxes, we're going to look at your estate plan, we're going to look at your investment, we're going to look at your insurance, and make sure that everything is a fit. And we have a team of experts that's all they do. And so right here in our offices, you can basically come by and have somebody to take a look at everything that you have out there, give you advice that is understandable and actionable, that you can put in place to make sure that your retirement turns out exactly the way that you want it to.
So many different things that you covered today. Thank you so much for going through taxes. One last softball. I only have a few seconds left. Why even worry about it? Aren't our taxes going to go down in retirement?
No.
It's one of the biggest assumptions out there, but we have to start taking that income. We've got to start taking eventually our RMDs and our Social Security. So there's so many different things that the retirement blueprint will address. Thank you for your time. We're going to be back again next week. Tim, great to see you. Thank you so much for watching the Retirement Blueprint Show with Tim Lofton. He is the founder of the Retirement Blueprint. Dayton, please make sure that you get your own complimentary version of the Retirement Blueprint. All you've got to do is reach out to us right here at 855-684-3485. It is complimentary. There is no obligation to it whatsoever. Thank you so much for watching the Retirement Blueprint Show. Please make sure that you tune in once again next week.